you again.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me tonight.
And it's not snowing or
It's
raining.
not snowing, but it was raining, so I'm starting to get a complex. When we last met out on site, we took a look at what we thought the solution would be, which was to raise the wall for about 20 feet, raise the fence, and blend the grade out. And since that time, in fact, I just learned tonight that Lucas has done that already. He's raised the concrete wall and has been working with Clint to grade it out. And I had been trying to reach Lucas, and we just missed each other. In fact, I called him a couple times today, and he's done it. It's all done. So I plan to go out there after this just to take a look around. I'll snap some pictures. But Clint, it sounds like that worked out very well. He cut the pavement out. He blended the gravel out, so it was a much gentler slope coming up and through, so cars can drive up from both directions, and extending the wall out made a big difference as far as, you know, the general of the grade. And I think we're going to put a little more gravel out there. That
it's going to need more, but okay for now.
yeah. So I want to go out and take a look at it and see how it turned out, but I had not realized Lucas just jumped in and did it. So I will talk with Lucas about all of this and see if, you know, we had offered to help out a little bit, so I'm going to catch up with him on it. But it's done, from what I understand. And I'll take a look at it just to make sure it covers what we had talked about. Take some pictures, and Nancy, report back to you. And if you folks wanted to meet out there again on a Saturday morning, I'd be glad to do that too.
Clint, this might be a question for you, but cost-wise, where are we with this? Because we were concerned that with the additional work to be done, there was going to be some additional cost. And that was part of a conversation that we wanted to have with Owens, was who was going to be responsible for that cost.
I have no idea what the charge is going to be. I know it was like 2 yards of cement.
Well, we had talked, I think what we had talked about was, out there was, is that where we underran quite significantly on the concrete, we asked if we could tap that, but the rest of it, there would be no cost to the town. So I've got to catch up to Lucas and talk to him on, I think he did it all himself, so I will speak to Lucas, but I think that was the objective, was that we might use, we were underran by like almost 15 yards of concrete, I think, on the project. But the rest of it, I think we discussed that there would be no cost to the town.
He has submitted 2 invoices. One was for 11 yards of concrete, and then this week he submitted another invoice.
And what was that one for? Because we estimated probably be about 1.5 yards of concrete, 2 yards of concrete. I don't know what the 11 yards is for, but
I would have to look that one up. I don't have that
Yeah.
one right here in front
That
of me, but I
was-
just noticed it on the report it said
if we
11.
used 11 yards, that concrete wall went up about 8 feet.
Do you know what it was
No,
for, Clint?
I think he had, the 11 was what we had not used, right?
Yeah, oh, well, yeah, there was an agreement that if, it was left in the bid specifications, that if the Board of Selectmen so chose, remember we had set up the specs so that
Right,
if he
if there was
overran,
over.
if he overran, that was on him. If he underran,
It was reimbursed to
it
him.
was reimbursed to him, and, you know, we sort of thought that was a fair and just way to, so that you didn't take any more risk, and if he did a good job and got it ahead, you'd get a little bit out of
You
it.
know, it just says,
It was, he extended the concrete wall, saw cut pavement, regraded the slope, reworked the fence, ram extension, removal of pavement, and form walls. And it doesn't say how much concrete he used on this one, but it was concrete paint, cutting wheels, rebar, flat plate steel, welding material, ties, oil, and epoxy. And that was for $2,900.
I wasn't even aware he did that, so let me catch up with Lucas and we'll talk to him about that. I'll have to catch up with him. I had sort of hoped he would
I'm
talk
not
with
sure
us
what
first.
Do you know what the invoice for 11 yards of concrete was for? I don't have it right here. I'd have to look it
That's
up.
probably the floor.
A floor, okay.
Yeah.
That's the what?
That's the floor of the pad down below.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is any conversation going on for
Yep. Work's been done. Lucas took care of doing everything that we discussed. Owen is going to get with Lucas, and they are going to take care of any added expense to the project other than the concrete, because we were under budget on the concrete. So
So that comes out of Lucas's part?
he
Now,
was,
this whole thing, to me, is not Lucas's fault at all. It's over and above that. And I think Sebago Technics needs to stand at the plate here and take care of it. As far as the hot top, the ridge, everything.
Well, I'm, I'm not authorized.
Well, you guys have been at this for long enough, and you must have discussed this with your board.
We wanted to have a cost from Lucas. I asked him for a cost. I hadn't received it, and I didn't know till tonight that it was done.
Well, we had voted last week to finish this project, such as it is, not that we like it.
Well, again, I needed to have, it would be inappropriate for me to just say, go do it without understanding what those costs are. Sebago Technics is not, an endless pit of money. And I need to understand what those costs were, because if the costs we may have opted to take care of it ourselves in a different method, by hiring somebody that maybe we've worked with, or somebody that, we might have taken care of it ourselves.
But Owen, there was not gonna be another solution. We had all
No,
agreed
I'm
that
not, questioning
the
that.
solution that we talked about is where we were, and I made the motion to go ahead, let's stop pussyfooting around, let's go finish the project, and I'm in agreement with David that Sebago Techniques, and I don't know if it's Walt's calling the shots now, or who's calling the shots, but
Still Walt.
the bottom line is that, we had to make some modifications here that cost the contractor, because he had saved money, and the agreement was he was gonna get what he could save. I think that was some of the agreement. So it's cost the contractor now an additional cost to do what he's done, right? So the discussion that we had and the vote that we took was, let's go do what we all agreed was the right thing to do. And that was from the visit that we all had up there a couple of Saturday mornings ago, which has now been done. So the bottom line is, we can come up with what the cost has been, and I guess the request that I would have to you is to go back and ask Walt, okay? This is part, if not the majority of, on Sebago's back, what's he intend to bring to the party?
Could I have a copy of that invoice?
I think you certainly could.
That's something,
I mean, our chief concern here in representing the town is there's no added cost to the town as to the contractor.
And John, to that point, there's no additional cost to the town, because the agreement that we had with the contractor
Yep.
was if he could salvage and save some money during the process, that was money, because he cut some things out that he wasn't gonna get paid for, right? So the cost of the town isn't gonna change. What it's done though, because we've had this little foo-bar, is that we've cost the contractor money that ultimately would have been money that he saved on the job.
And that should be his concern
But, well, understand, but,
with Sebago Tech.
well, I think it's ours as well, because we're the ones that approve the contract and everything else, or what was gonna be done. So, I think we own the project, and we contracted with Sebago to design the thing, all right? Okay, and there was some things that changed, all right? Some that we should have known, maybe some that we shouldn't have known. But the bottom line is that it shouldn't be borne 100% by the town, the contractor. I think Sebago bears some responsibility. We can argue until the cow comes home on what that number is, but I think that based on where we are, I think that Walt certainly should come to the table with some concession.
Let me take, well, wherever Clint was.
He went to go get your
With
copy.
that invoice.
Went to take the
This is
invoice.
the first time I knew what the costs were, so let me take that back. And then I can report back, either come back to the meeting or report back to Nancy, whatever, you know, let me take that and I'll go back and I need to sit down with, frankly, Walt. So,
And I think we have a contractor that worked for us in good faith. And if there's some compensation that he should be getting for the work that he did, certainly he's entitled to that.
we're gonna look at that. And this was the first time I knew what the costs were, so I just want to see, I guess I'd like to understand those
What was
costs,
done.
and then we'll respond appropriately. That wasn't me.
Excuse me.
John,
Little hiccup here.
John's first night with his computer,
Is that what, okay.
so.
But I'd like to take a run out and take a look too. Like I said, I didn't realize it was actually done until
Okay.
Clint told me tonight, so.
Anything else for once?
Okay,
So we'll wait to hear from you.
absolutely, it won't be long.
And if it works out that we need to have you and Walt come back in
Yep,
for a
I'll let
meeting,
you know, sure.
let us know, we'll get you on the
Absolutely.
agenda. Okay?
All right, have a good
Thanks.
evening, thanks.
All right. Moving on, we have a 6 o'clock, but until then, we'll hit the rest of the agenda. Hearing delegation. Okay. We have no correspondence reports. Town administrators report.
The warrant is pretty much completed. The finance committee is going to be meeting Thursday night, and hopefully the warrant will be all complete, be ready for the selectmen. Well, the selectmen have to sign it next Tuesday. But I do have one question on the warrant, where the warrant represents a restructuring plan, and now we have a new department, the planning department. There's a couple of ways I have put it in the article, in the warrant for you to decide. If you look at Article 19 for the new planning department, what was appropriated last year is left blank. But then if, excuse me, if you look under Article 27, I kind of highlighted where it was located last year. I don't know how, if you just want to leave it and announce at the beginning that it's a restructuring and,
So 19 and 27.
yeah. And I also want to welcome back Jerry Daigle from his recent surgery. It's good to have him back. And now, I'm not sure if you all read the interesting article that's been in the papers, and it was funny but yet kind of sad about the legislature, the LD 71 whoopie pie bill. It took 52 days from public hearing to the first House vote. And it took 65 days from the hearing of LD, of the whoopie pie bill, to become law. There was a total of 98 days, but it doesn't include the drafting. LD 1333, which is the insurance bill, has taken 8 days to go through the same process. So it's a little, you know, you kind of look at it like it's funny, but you know what? It's not really funny. Whoopie pies apparently
Well,
take over.
We started it
It's,
last
it's, you know, I understand. It's, whoopie pies are much, much more complex than altering the health food.
That's right. That's right. Is it a dessert? Does it have frosting? Or should it be?
I think Gordon needs instructions for his chair tonight.
This is the same chair.
Nancy, what is the insert?
Oh, I'm sorry. There is an insert because as I went in and made changes, I went back through and added everything all back up. So to keep track, purpose for the finance committee and for the selectmen, I put what the old article was and what the new one is, so that some of them was just,
Get it?
you know, right? Some of them was just, you know, correcting the amount, but I wanted to keep a track record of what was changed.
There you go.
I didn't take it, I thought
Okay.
it was this beat up thing.
No. This is where,
Some copies. That's all I have.
is it just?
Yep, a bunch of copies of the check. Clint took copies of the checks too.
You're missing the top sheet, but you get several of the bottom sheet, Dennis.
Oh, okay.
And then he gets a copy of the top sheet. I didn't realize the check was with it.
Okay. All right, thank you, Nancy. Selectmen's report.
Get Dave and Clint here, they can add in, but I went to the transfer station committee, had a workshop last night that I had a chance to facilitate. But what I wanted to report here is the part of that workshop that directly affects the selectmen and administration here. And that's in the area of communication. So we were asking the committee was asking itself what's the best way to, the most efficient way to run meetings and to keep people involved and make it so the committee members feel useful and that it's seen as worth their time to go to those meetings. And in the communication part, the first thing I think that almost everybody agreed to is that they would like yearly direction from the selectmen as to where the selectmen see the transfer station going. What direction is the selectmen going? So they're feeling a little bit bounced around when the selectmen change their mind on minds on something, or something comes up and we react to it and they don't know about it. So that could be said for every committee too. So the stuff that came out of here last night was really something that when we've talked about increasing communication with our committees, this could work for every committee. So timely notice, another area was timely notice on business that's going on in the selectmen's meeting. That the committee chair maybe gets an email alerting her to something coming up. And that can come from us, it can come from our direction to Pam, it can come from Clint, but the committee is, sometimes feels a little bit left out on issues that are happening. And like I said, annual direction from the Board of Selectmen. They sit down and meet with the Board of Selectmen and where are we going this year, and helping them and actually coming up with some goals for them. They came up with some goals last night, but some operational type goals that the Board of Selectmen may have for a transfer station. And they also said it was brought up too, they'd love to get timely, rather than timely, but periodic review of what's happening in other departments in the town. So that again can come from our selectman representative. It can come from Clint, from a regular attendance to administrative meetings. So communication is an issue. And then the capital improvement process, we'd like to get involved with that. And then another issue that was brought up is an available computer at the town office for citizens' use. So that committee members that don't have computers can come in here, get agenda information, and get into the website and find out what's going on, and have that available at the town office. Also, it's something that citizens could use to register vehicles and things like that. They could do it in here online if they didn't have a computer, with a little bit of direction and not have to go through the desk. So that's another issue that came up. You guys have any more to say on it?
The only thing to add there is that they were looking for direction and goals from the selectmen in the fall. In other words, to get going for the following year would be helpful.
Clint, anything to add?
Covered it pretty well.
Aren't there computers available at the library?
Yep.
There's computers available at the library, they just need to stop in there.
Yeah, but the library's only open part. I mean, I brought that up too. You know, you can go to the library to your computer, but the town hall is open longer hours and it would just, and you know, that's something too, if the library is looking to get more computers, if they're looking to go in that direction, then maybe one of the computers could be down here and available for use by citizens. I think it was a good idea.
Anything else?
What is the status of the auditor's report on the 2010? Is that done?
We still have a couple of issues, and they are looking into them.
Okay. And department meetings and staff meetings, are they being held now on a regular basis, or has that been slowed down?
Department heads, we've had so many out, we wanted to plan one for last month, but trying to get everybody together, but yes, we are going to have one this month.
And staff meetings? Is that
None.
nothing planned? Okay. Also, I think in the future, when we need engineering work done, that we consider opening it up to other people besides Sebago Technics.
Okay. And Dennison, Gordon, anything?
The Selectmen's report? I'd like to thank members of the Maine Warden Service and our own contract deputy, Sean Sanborn, for their work on the lake. They spent a considerable amount of time cleaning up quite a collection of debris that had been left over from this past winter. And I'm not going to point fingers as to who might have left that debris, but it was out on the ice, so you can venture to speculate on your own as to who might have left it there. But they did collect quite a bit, and I think that it's good that they did, because we're going to certainly have water skiers and boats and jet skis and so forth out there, and I would hate to see anyone hurt by some debris that was left out there, including big blocks of wood and so forth. So I'd like to thank them on behalf of the town.
Dennis, anything?
No.
All right. And just to note, for Monday night is the 12 town group meeting. It's usually held here at the town hall. It's going to be at the Oak Street Bistro in Alfred this month, and that is because MMA is offering a risk management services seminar. So rather than having the 12 town group here and officials missing out on that workshop, it was decided that the group would just meet over at the MMA event. If anybody's interested from Town Hall in attending that, there's a memo here on who to contact to RSVP. Okay. Moving along, at 6 o'clock, we have an appointment with Frank Tarbox regarding map 32, lot 71Z, for a consent decree. Mr. Tarbox?
My concern goes way back to 2004, 2005, in which I got from the planning board permission to build a concrete wall, take down a railroad type wall and replace it with a concrete wall, and then build a garage. And The problem with that situation was when the garage was constructed, it was supposed to be 10 feet from my abutting neighbor, the Whitehursts. And according to my survey this past week, they've got it down as 9 feet 6 inches. It's actually 9.6 feet, feet. And that is, comes out to be a little less than 5 inches short.
Now, you applied to the planning board for an after-the-fact setback reduction, which was denied.
Which was denied, correct.
And the garage that was built is currently constructed in a right-of-way that is owned between you and the abutter?
It's not constructed in the right of way, is it, Betty?
The wall's in the right of way.
We're talking, the garage is constructed, what, 6, 7 inch, 5 inches too close to the property line, which
A little less than
which
5
encroaches
inches.
into the right of way.
He did,
Okay, sir, I'm gonna,
all right,
just a moment, I'm gonna assume that you're,
I'm Chloe Whitehurst.
Okay.
We're
you're the abutters.
the abutter.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So what is it that you're looking, as far as a resolution, what are you looking for from the Board of Selectmen?
To allow that less than 5 inches to stand the way it is, and if that's not acceptable to you, then last Friday I had 2 surveyors and my carpenter out, and they can cut the garage from the roof right down to the foundation to get that little less than 5 inches off. They can do that. Actually, they put marks in 2 places, and I said, let's put in an extra inch just in case, so we don't get messed up. So that's an option if it's acceptable to you folks.
Next question I've got for Patty is, what's the encroaching eaves or foundation or?
I believe it's the wall, not the eaves, it's the wall itself.
Sort of the eaves further encroach?
Frank, is the kitchen, the roof coming that way, or is it the other way?
No, it goes towards the Whitehursts, the pitch. Well, actually, the pitch is this way, and the Whitehursts' property is over here.
So I,
So it doesn't.
right.
No.
David, do you have a question?
No, just as a gable end that is on the boundary.
I'd be interested in the abutters too, and what their
Yep.
take is on this.
Any other questions for Mr. Tarbox while we have him? Okay.
Might need to come back.
Would you like, Gordon, do you
I
want?
just want to know the rationale behind what the planning board had for denying.
Patty, do you know that?
I can't really speak for the planning board, but I can tell you that historically, they don't give less than a 10-foot setback reduction, because there's a provision in the ordinance that says, at no time shall a structure on one lot be closer than 20 feet to a structure on another lot. So I've never seen them give less than a 10-foot setback, so that they're not encroaching on someone else's right to use that 10 feet.
Mr. Whitehurst, did you want to be heard?
Yeah. He did the work that he did while I was in Florida, and I had no way of being here. And he has built his wall in the right-of-way by at least 6 or 8 feet, maybe 10. And according to his letter here, he says he's 10 feet or 9 feet 6 inches in the right of way. So it's 10 feet according to, from my wall, from my fence that I have put up there to his wall is exactly 4 feet from my fence. And I understand that there's supposed to be a setback of at least 10 feet for the right-of-way. So that's the way that I see it, and I see no reason why that wall should be there. It's in the right-of-way. And I feel that he should have to be made to remove it.
Now the right-of-way that's between the properties, it talks about this right-of-way that's between the properties. Is that a right-of-way that's utilized by either of you?
Well, it's utilized by the neighbors. It's supposed to be a public beach there.
So this is a right-of-way to go down to the water?
Yes, ma'am.
How many parties have an interest in this right-of-way, Patty?
I have not, right-of-ways are typically civil matters. I have not put a lot of time into researching that,
Okay.
so I can't answer that.
But you're saying there's more than the two of you that have access to that right-of-way?
Yes, he is. The
Would you agree with that?
Codys have it, and also a lady up on Route 5. I don't know her name. I've never been introduced to her, so I don't know her name. But she complained, and that's why I put up a fence. She wanted to take part of my property to go to Ossipee Lake. And I said, there's no way that I do that. So when I put my fence up, we only left 4 feet of land there, and his wall is on the right-of-way by about six feet, if not more. It's supposed to, the right-of-way is supposed to be, I understand, I'll have to ask her, it's supposed to be 10 foot, right?
I believe that's what the subdivision says is a 10-foot right-of-way.
And my daughter and my grandson has power of attorney, and he was here with the planning board before, and he spoke on and my daughter, and they all informed Patty that he was building in the right-of-way, and she never did anything about it.
Is this a walking right-of-way, or is this something that you can actually get a boat down to the lake?
Yes.
Yes, you could have. Not
So
now.
with the structures there, does that limit the use of the right-of-way, just so that you can't get?
It's just
He has
a
an
path.
8 or 10 inch wall in the right-of-way by at least 6 feet. 6 to 8, maybe 10, according to this letter.
So this is a 10-foot right-of-way, Patty. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to be clear that what we're talking about tonight is the garage. The retaining wall was not permitted. It was not a permit granted by the town. And the town typically does not get involved in structures being constructed within a right-of-way because that's a civil matter. Property lines and right-of-ways are a civil matter.
But when my son came to get you, you went to the properties and you looked for pins and you looked for surveys, and there weren't any. And you were going to look into the matter. That was pre-construction of that wall. I also talked to the people constructing and asked them to please wait until you made a decision and had that looked into. And that was just washed out, and he went ahead and constructed the wall. As far as the garage being over the line, that could affect the sale of Mr. Whitehurst's property. And that's a concern. And everyone knows that that could affect resale of property, having somebody, over the line like that. And it's just a walking path now, where it was.
It's only about 2 to 3 feet left in the right-of-way after I put up
In certain
my fence.
in certain places, it's just a walking path.
But the issue here is, not relative to the wall. It's relative to the structure,
Right.
all right? He was granted permission to build a structure within 10 feet of the lot line,
Which would have
which happens to be common with the right-of-way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's encroached on that by 5 inches. So his request to the board is for the garage. As much as the wall may very well be violating the right-of-way, the town has no interest in that,
Right.
right?
Cody?
That is purely.
You should have said that when you went then, you know, instead of saying that you were gonna go and check it out.
I
You
think when
know.
people ask me to research things, I do that, and I can't remember because this goes back to 2005 or before that. I don't know the exact words that I use, but I very typically do not get involved in civil matters to the point where we issue permits or deny permits. And that's where the
Right,
town
but you're
stayed
the only
at.
person that we have to go to. You know, you were there and, I mean, we were going according to your guidance. You were telling us you were gonna check into this.
We're
You know,
gonna.
I understand
we're gonna
what you're
stick with
saying.
the garage, and I think if that's an issue that you have about
Yeah.
what happened as far as retaining wall, that's something that can be taken up with Patty and Nancy after the fact. But
I
I
think the
think we
town
need to
stance is.
concentrate on the garage.
We
Coley?
don't, we
So
don't
now
know
you have to
those
get an
right-of-ways.
attorney and,
Oh, we'll get
We were told by
that's what you're
the
gonna have to do.
deputy sheriff in Alfred, when we were trying to get this wall moved or trying to get everything straightened out here by the town, and he told me that it was our rights that we should come and see you people and tell you that this wall was in the right of way. So this is why that I'm here tonight. I came back from Florida for 1 month earlier than I generally come back because of this meeting. And I got this letter here stating that you were having a meeting tonight and the selectmen had the right to have the wall moved.
Well, we're here to discuss the garage, not the wall. I guess the way that I would explain the wall would be like if you and I were neighbors and I put up a fence and I put my fence on your property, that would be between you and I, it wouldn't be between you and the town. So that's with the retaining wall, that's what we're looking at. I understand it's not a fence, it's a retaining wall, but that's how I would explain the retaining wall. What we can deal with is we can deal with the garage, because in order to build the garage, he had to get a permit from the town. He didn't need a permit
He
from
didn't
the...
get a permit to build the wall, and he did not get a permit to build the garage.
He got the permit
That
to
was up
build...
to her to do that,
Yeah.
to get
He
that
got the-
done, and she didn't do it.
Right. He got the permit to build the garage, and unfortunately, the garage was built too close to the property. It was supposed to be 10 feet, it's built 9.6 feet. So we, the selectmen, can decide what we want to do about that, but we can't deal with the retaining wall. But we can deal with the garage
Who
issue.
will I see to have the retaining wall moved in?
You would have to get an attorney, and it would have to be civil through the
I
courts.
thought, I figured
On
this
the
was gonna
retaining wall.
cost some more money.
So,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Anything else from the
Well, my
questions from the board?
determination was our duty to report this.
Yes.
Anything else from the board?
They're not gonna answer you, they don't even wanna talk about it.
Okay.
Why would the sheriff tell you that, though?
I don't know. They shouldn't be referring, they shouldn't have. That was wrong information.
Well, I think they know what they're doing.
They are not land use experts by any stretch of the imagination. So they're a law enforcement officer, and this doesn't come under, this is a land use issue.
A land use issue. We can't use it to run a vehicle through there. We want to go to the beach.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to get an attorney to go.
Okay.
to-
Mr. Tarbox, did you have anything else to add?
I don't believe so. I think you understand what the situation is,
Okay.
unless you have questions of me.
Anything else?
My only question is, do you have a price for carpenter fixing the issue,
He didn't give me an estimate last Friday.
other than he said it could be done?
He said it could be done and it would be structurally strong after he took those 5 inches off the garage. Actually, it would be 6 inches because we took an extra inch.
So this removal of the 6 inches is going to put him back
In
within the
compliance.
guidelines of the right-of-way.
Yes.
But there's also a retaining wall there that's in addition to this, which we
Which
have
is
nothing
gonna
to do
have to
with.
be a civil issue between the property owners.
And Patty, do you understand if this 6 inches is removed from the garage, that is code, that is going to make,
Yes, it would meet the conditions of the planning board setback reduction.
Anything else?
A couple of questions. On your garage, Mr. Tarbox, that was supposed to be no closer than 10 feet to the private right-of-way of so-called Landry Road, and no closer than 10 feet to the adjacent Whitehurst property. If the decision of this board is that you need to move that back, does that, the garage,
Okay.
does,
You
then,
mean, excuse me, you mean you cut it back 6 inches?
right,
Okay.
does that, would that make this comply with both those conditions? The 10 feet from the right-of-way and the 10 feet from Mr. Whitehurst's property?
I would defer to Patty.
Yes,
So it would satisfy both requirements of the planning board?
yes.
Because the only violation at this point is too close to the property line.
In the property line and the right-of-way appear to be one and the same.
Now, the wall, had there been a wall there before?
Further back, sir, where the garage ends, there was a wooden wall, just timbers. Right,
It was cross ties is what it was, and they built the thing. And he's taken up about 10 feet of land, which is a right-of-way, part of the right-of-way. And
You're
his
saying the wall
his-
is not in
his
the same
wall-
location?
Beg your pardon?
You're saying that the wall is not in the same location as it was?
No,
That's
sir.
correct, sir.
That's-
But we're not
Okay,
supposed to
that
deal
that
with
issue
that.
then is a matter for the court.
We were told, my daughter and my grandson, which had power of attorney and was here with the planning board the last time they had a meeting, and she was told that he was building in the right-of-way, and she didn't do anything about it.
And if
This
it's
is
town
why we're
property,
here.
why didn't the town do something at the inception of the wall?
It's not
It's
town
not town
property.
property.
The right-of-way is not
No,
town.
No.
no, that's a deed,
If it was public, if it was a public right-of-way.
In other words, I can take the rest of the property then, I can just
That's
move my
correct.
fence up against his wall.
That's correct.
you
That's
could, you
correct.
could if you
Okay.
wanted Mr. Tarbox to sue you.
That's okay.
Okay. I'll go that route.
Well,
The other,
you're just perpetuating the problem.
Well, I know, that's why I'm here tonight. I'm trying to get you people to make him move the wall that's in the right of way.
So you're trying to get us to do something that legally we cannot do regarding the
Why
wall.
was I told by the deputy
Well, I
sheriff
don't
that
know
we
why
should
you
look
were-
into
The
it?
deputy sheriff does not control this board. The
I
deputy sheriff has a
understand. I
view that he
understand
is
that,
not
sir.
trained to give an opinion.
Why didn't he put the wall where the other one was?
Well, I think we've got to get away from this discussion on the wall because the board cannot take action on the wall. That is a civil issue between the folks that own that right of way, which would be you folks, Mr. Tarbox, and whoever the other two property owners are. So you four property owners that own a piece of that right of way, that needs to be resolved through you, through, if you need to get attorneys involved, through the court system, but the board cannot deal with the wall. We can deal with the garage, and that's what we're gonna deal with, is the garage issue.
Well, then we can take the property next to us and fence it around.
So,
You did
anything
it, we
else?
can do it too. It's right.
All right.
The only other, just out of curiosity, is the wall there for any structural support of the garage?
It's about 9 feet high, so it's on the other side of the wall is land.
Okay, so it's not an integral support to your garage?
Well, it is, because the garage is on the land that's being supported by the wall. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah.
So it's a retaining wall that's holding,
Exactly.
I guess my only thing is if you had to move the wall through whatever action is taken, does that affect the structural integrity of the garage?
I would assume, not a structural engineer, but I would assume that the land would fall down and the garage would fall down toward the Whitehouse's property. Because that support would not be there.
He had to know that.
anything
before.
else from the board? Okay. We do have it a little further in our agenda to take a vote on what we'd like to do with this, so we should probably, we have to open up some bids and probably get to that within 5 or 10 minutes. Moving on to new business, open bids for map 33, lot 57. We had a request from a property owner in that neighborhood to purchase the property. We felt that the fair thing to do would be to send it out to the opportunity to bid on the property to all of the abutters. And that letter was sent out, and we have one bid. Gordon, would you like to?
This has been hermetically sealed in a mayonnaise jar on Funkin' Wagner's porch since we got it, I guess, to put it. Okay, you want to read it, or do you want to?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. To whom it may concern, this is from Carl and Elizabeth Goodwin. This is to notify you that we are interested in the property listed above. We offer a bid of $14,750. As this will be a cash sale, the deadline of June 10th, 2011 will not pose a problem. Thank you for notifying us of the availability of this lot. And then they give their phone numbers where they can be reached.
And that is the only bid that we've received. Is there a motion to accept the bid?
Now, is this the property off what? Is this on the backside of the lake, or where is this?
Where's the map in there that we had?
These are the folks
Off
that
80.
originally made the
It's
proposal.
off in Courtney. It's off in Courtney Lane.
Nope.
So do they believe that they already have a bid standing?
Oh, where does Pam go? I believe I asked Pam about it. She said she received an email on it, and they knew that they had to, after they received the letter, that they had to submit a bid.
And what
This
they,
is the same people.
No.
no, this is another abutter, but that bid was lower than this
Yeah, I understand.
by $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they had bid, yeah.
okay. So is there a motion to accept?
I move to accept the bid as written,
Okay. Second?
14,000, what,
$14,750.
14,750.
So we're just motioning to accept the bid, and then we'll have to award it, so it's just accepting.
So move. A second.
Second, all those in favor?
Now, any discussion before we vote?
Sure.
Now, the original people did not submit a bid,
No, they did not.
and they were notified that this
Yes,
process
they
was
were.
going on.
And Pam has provided us a copy of the letter that was sent to all of the folks, and they did respond to Pam via an email.
I thought, I don't know where she went, but we can ask her when she comes back.
You want, Patty, could you stick your head out and see if Pam's right there? Okay, so all those in favor of accepting the bid? Okay. So we have it, next under new business is discuss vote to award bid for map 33, lot 57. We only had one bid, so what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll move that we accept the bid for $14,750.
You mean award the bid?
Award the bid, yes.
Is there a second to awarding the bid to Carl and Elizabeth Goodwin for $14,750? Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Next on the agenda, set date for candidates night. I talked to Yvette today. The absentee ballots will be in, they're supposed to be in by this Friday. Last year, there was some concern that was raised because a candidates night should have been held, or it was requested that next year we consider holding it earlier so that folks that are voting absentee would have an opportunity to hear the candidates. Is Pam not around?
I didn't see it.
Okay. Pam was going to check with Bob Powers and see if he would potentially be available for the 19th, which would be next Thursday night, which would mean the absentee ballots would only be out for a few days before we'd have candidates night. We have 3 that are running for road commissioner for 1 open seat. We have 2 running for selectmen for 2 open seats. I think there was 1 school board member running and 1 water district trustee running for 1 open position on each. So my thoughts are May 19th, Thursday night at 7 p.m. Any thoughts?
And that gives them basically 4 weeks, right? Or just shy of 4 weeks. Right, because the election is going to be the 7th.
So does that sound agreeable to everybody?
7 o'clock on the 19th.
7 o'clock on the 19th. All right, done deal. Next, moving on, old business, discuss, vote, Tarbox consent decree. So we've heard from Mr. Tarbox and we heard from the abutters. We have a structure that is built approximately 5 inches into violation of the original permit. What is the pleasure of the board?
I will move that we require Mr. Tarbox to move the closest wall, or that the building be no closer than 10 feet to the property line in accordance to our ordinance.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? David?
Okay, my question is, why, if this retaining wall, Patty, is supporting the garage, does it appear to be supporting the garage?
If you took the retaining wall down, the garage would not stay up.
Okay, how can the town, or you, give a permit for a building when the retaining wall that is supporting the building, which they are getting a permit for, is not on his land? I don't understand how this procedure works.
He did not get a permit for the retaining wall,
You got a permit for
the
the
garage.
building, okay, which is supported by a structure that is not on his property.
We don't know that, David. I mean, he could have built the garage without utilizing the reinforced retaining wall.
Well, somewhere, a little common sense ought to be played into this
Well,
thing.
I mean,
Well,
we're
how
not
would the
gonna, we're
planning
not.
board know
Can
that,
I answer that?
that
Can I
that
defend
retaining wall
myself,
retained?
please?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Patty.
He had a retaining wall, which he replaced. It was caving in. That was years ago.
He did not put it back, it appears he did not put it back in the same exact place, based on surveys that were done. This all falls back onto, when we issue permits, when I issue a permit, there has to be a survey to issue the permit. That's when we discovered the property line. The retaining wall was built before he applied for the garage. He had a retaining wall, he replaced it before he ever came to the planning board.
Was he supposed to get a permit for replacement?
Not necessarily, no,
Okay,
because he had it there. You can repair and maintain what you have.
in the same spot?
Right.
Well, he didn't.
Without the town getting involved and therefore getting legally liable in a civil matter for something
Well,
that he doesn't need a permit for.
I think the door is open when he did not replace the retaining wall in the same spot. I mean, that to me is, hello?
Which wasn't discovered until very recently, because he didn't need a permit, so why, I'm not sure at what point I'm supposed to go out and make sure that people aren't encroaching on other people's rights of way.
So I can build I can build a retaining wall right next to a person's property line. I don't need a permit to build a retaining wall, I can have it 2 inches from their property line?
That's not what she said. She said if you have a retaining wall and it's in disrepair, you can replace it.
Yeah,
At
but
the
if it's not
same
replacing it in
spot.
the same
Okay.
track.
But they're not gonna come to the code officer to say, I wanna replace my deteriorated retaining wall, I'm gonna go fix it myself.
You don't have to go to the code
Right.
enforcement officer
So-
to a retaining wall.
So when is the code officer gonna find out that, oh, the retaining wall was moved 6 feet?
Well, I mean, she went out to view the site, okay, and gives him a permit, and I assume he must have seen the retaining wall is no longer where it was?
No. I don't go and view sites before I issue permits.
Okay, then I've got a question on that. On your notes, it says on April 18th, 2006, the code enforcement office received a complaint about a concrete retaining wall being constructed within the right-of-way. It says here that you went out and spoke with the contractor who was building the retaining wall, and that contractor claimed the wall was in the exact same footprint as the previous wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you went and informed the abutter.
And that was approximately 6 months after going to the planning board and getting a permit to build the garage.
And I think
Well, I
you
guess-
hit the nail on the head.
Well, I
when
guess-
you brought that up. The problem was that when the wall was replaced, it wasn't replaced in the exact same place. And surveys that have been asked by the town to do have proven that.
But I think what Patty's notes are is that she went out, she had a complaint, she went out, the contractor, whomever this gentleman had building it, said it was in the same location as the previous one, right?
Well, I guess what I'm looking at is the timeline issue that was brought up over here. If I'm not mistaken, I heard that the wall was repaired before he got the permit for the garage. This looks as though it was 6 months into,
That's when we got the complaint.
that's when you got the complaint. So
It was after the fact.
the contractor was still there 6 months later? Was it the same contractor that built the garage that rebuilt the retaining wall?
Is it that you went out and spoke to the contractor who was building the retaining wall?
Yes.
Or,
Yes, the retaining wall.
Okay.
After the permit was granted for the garage. And he still had to meet the setback for the garage. We didn't get involved in the retaining wall.
Well, we must have at some point if you went out to inspect
Because-
it.
Because somebody complained.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And
I
at
don't-
that time, I'm positive, I said it would be a civil matter.
Right, you did say that, but it also says in here that you went back to the abutter and said it was a civil matter. But was the contractor that built the garage the same contractor that replaced the wall?
The contractor that built the wall was involved in building the foundation of the garage. The carpenter that built the garage is a different person.
Okay.
And he was obviously just building it according to the foundation.
I guess my question, and I'm too thick to understand this, okay? But why would you, the town, approve a building that was supported by a structure that is not on the guy's property? I mean, how
Because
can
at
you
that
give
time,
permission
I
to-
did not know that.
In 2006, you knew it.
The permit was granted in 2005.
The building permit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And when was the building built?
Very shortly after the
Permit?
yep. I don't think I would ever knowingly help create this, maybe unknowingly.
I guess, Mr. Tarbox, if I was you, okay, and a good citizen and a person with a conscience, I would make this situation right.
And how would you do that?
I would tear down the retaining wall. That would be the proper thing to do.
Either that, I don't know if there's enough property there where you can buy another 10 feet of the abutter's property to make it okay in that sense.
It's a right of way. He's not gonna buy the right of way.
Yeah.
It's a right of way. He's not gonna buy the right of way.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't,
I think the issue here is he's got a structure that violates what the planning board allowed him to do. He evidently now has a solution, at least from the contractor or carpenter, to be able to fix that. I think that's the interest that we have. If there is something else that happens between the abutters and Mr. Tarbox relative to the right-of-way and the structure that's in the right-of-way, might have a bigger problem. He's gonna have to somehow support the structure by moving a wall. But that's gonna be on him.
Are you in a position to make that one wall that's not in compliance more structurally sound, whether you have to go deeper with that wall into the soil versus, so that it would hold?
I would have the knowledge to know how to do that, so.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second for Mr. Tarbox to make the building in compliance with the 10-foot setback. Is there any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the ruling of the board is that you do need to bring the building into compliance. All right, anything else? Other warrants for bills and payroll, would entertain a motion to sign those.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Entertain a motion to sign the minutes for 5/3/2011.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Pending decisions, we have the public service announcements.
Wait a
performance-
minute, I can't do I can't move on the minutes in 5-3. I
You
wasn't
weren't here. Okay, so you'll abstain?
I'll abstain.
All right.
Did he second the motion, or did he read the motion? That's what I think he said.
We had it in unison.
I made the motion. How's that? Gordon seconded it.
I can live with that.
All right. The week's action list, we have none at this point. Discussion of agenda items for next week. We have the Eco-Maine rep discussion to have. We need to find somebody to appoint to that. Anything else? Matt?
Under future items, May 18th is a award ceremony at the Blaine House that the Waterboro Fire Department will be at, so I want to have that for items as well.
Okay.
And what would that be in reference to, Chief?
2 o'clock, we'll be receiving the Heart Safe Award for the Waterboro.
From the governor?
Yep.
So we'll put you at the top of the agenda to make a presentation on that.
You need,
The following
you need the official photographer there to take that?
week.
could we,
So you want to be on the agenda for the 24th?
And I think we're on the agenda for the 17th too, correct, already?
Yes, that's when Neil's coming in, right? Yep.
Correct.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
follow up on the transfer station recycling center portion?
Matthew?
And the 17th for the main forest service regarding Austin Fire Tower. That will be with District Ranger Greg Heslin.
Would the auditor's report be ready for the 17th?
I think they know how eager we are to get it, and I know Nancy has been, would harping be a good word at this point?
But nagging.
Harping, nagging.
Ron was gonna plan to come out, was that the
Yeah, he thought he-
17th?
Let's see, what's today? 10th and 11th. He's either coming up the 17th or the 24th, I'm not sure.
Is that for the pre-audit, or?
I think it's both.
Okay. Anything else?
But for that, I do have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Tarbox, I'd like to just take a moment and echo the sentiments of the other selectmen down there. I don't think that there's any good way out of this situation that you're in. I think that it's probably, based on the comments that I heard earlier, could possibly result in, some type of litigation. It's probably going to be costly to both parties, and I don't really see that as a necessary expense. I mean, you can certainly do what you want, but I would echo the sentiments of Selectman Woodson in that now that you know that the retaining wall was not put back in the same location as it was, I think that that's a very egregious thing that took place. And I think that as a gentleman that wishes to maintain a harmonious relationship with his neighbors, that you may want to, see clear to have that wall removed on your own volition. Obviously, we can't force you to do that because as we said earlier, that's a civil matter, but I think that there's certainly an air of common sense that should take place, irrespective of, what you think of the board's decision on having you move that garage. I think that's certainly a separate issue, but just, to maintain relationship, within the community that you live in, right, and I'm talking about that immediate area, that you may want to take steps to, try to smooth this over, because obviously there's some hard feelings here, and there's some tensions involved, and I really don't see a point in having that escalate further. Just a comment and take for what it's worth.
Items needing signature, warrants for bills and payroll, the minutes of 5/3. I'll go through the reminders real quick, and then we're going to move into a workshop on budget review with department heads. Wednesday, May 11th, 6 p.m., the Road Review Committee is meeting at the Town Hall. Thursday, May 12th at noontime, the first senior luncheon of the season at the Snowmobile Club on Old Elford Road. Thursday, May 12th, 6:30 p.m., the Old Home Days Committee is meeting at Town Hall. Thursday, May 12th, 7 p.m., the Finance Committee is meeting at Town Hall. Saturday, May 14th at 8:30, the Cribbage Tournament at Town Hall. Monday, May 16th, Water District Trustees at Town Hall. Monday, May 16th, 7 p.m., the Charter Commission at Town Hall. And Tuesday, May 17th, 6 p.m., the Selectmen's Meeting, Town Hall Annex, and reporting will be the Road Review Committee and the Road Commissioner. And with that, let's move into our workshop with the department heads. All right. The reason we wanted to get all of the department heads here tonight was just to take a look at the budget, where we are with, what do we have, about 8-10 weeks left of the fiscal year. And Nancy asked each one of you to take a look at your budget, see where you are and come up with a projection on your expenditures from here on out going forward. The other thing that we wanted to talk to you about this evening is we've put together a new budget policy for the selectmen that I'll let Selectman Abbott present, that's going to allow us to do quarterly reports, and there's going to be a form that department heads will need to complete when we have these quarterly reviews, so that we're sure that we're staying on track as the year goes through. So Dennis, if you want to just start with that, going through that.
I think there's copies up here if everybody wants to grab one in front of Nancy there. If you recall, let me just start this by saying now goes back 2 budget sessions. The board adopted a policy for the budgeting process. In fact, if you read the preamble of this proposed policy, you'll see that we reference that. So what we've taken is that budget, a standard budget process, and we're including that, not necessarily verbatim, but
It is mandatory.
I think there's pretty much, the intent is the same. So the standard budgeting process will now, we'll implement a standard financial review process, which will also be done. Policy complies with Article 9 of the Waterboro Town Charter, Business and Financial Review. So Section 1, in essence, is the same thing that we use for the 2010 fiscal year budgeting process. What I tried to do, because when Tammy Jo had done the original budget review, it was specific for actually the fall of 2009, so it had specific dates for 2009 and then into 2010. So I tried to, as best, look at this and say, okay, really by the first week of most of those months that this happens, that becomes the key date. But as we get into this here, we'll have to, if one of those dates doesn't work, I think I put a catch-all in here that all dates reflect no later than dates. However, in the event that the date falls on a non-business day of the budget year being worked, the date shall default to the next business day. All right? So it addresses the capital improvement plan, talks about department heads, boards, and committees will be notified in writing of budget expectations. That's on the board, our responsibility. By the 15th, elected officials, administrative officers, department heads, boards, and committees shall submit budget. Pretty much where we've been. The date, I think 2 years ago, said December 14th or something of that nature. I just picked the middle of the month. January 7th is the completion of the first full week of the new year. By February 1st, Selectmen and Town Administrator will meet to establish a budget. Elected officials, administrative officers, et cetera, you can read all of that stuff. It's pretty much what was in the original standard budget process, okay? Just kind of made it all flow together here in the specific dates. And then communications was part of that original piece. What's being added here is really on page 404, which is the financial management. And this is kind of specific that, and you all get a copy, so I won't read it, but I'll just touch some of the highlights. Once the budget is approved at town meeting, and/or a special town meeting, town administrator, town treasurer will ensure that all the budgeted revenues and expenditures are entered into the town financial operating system, aka TRIO, right? Which I think is pretty much done anyway, right? Before we start the new fiscal year. The difference here is that once that's in there, everybody will get a shot at reviewing that to make sure that what happened at town meeting is exactly what we've got in that budget document, right? So that we're not 6 months down and say, you know, well, we should have moved this over there, or that should have been here. So we're gonna start in that first month of the new year with everybody agreeing and signing off that says, what's in Trio is what was presented at town meeting, and this is where we're going forward, all right? Now, again, we're not a line item budget per se, but the bottom line is what you have to work with, okay? So that's what we'll get into. And then by July 1, the deadline for the annual budget reviews and the expenditures into the town operating system, and that's with approval of everyone by August 1st, basically. So by August 1, we'll have the month of July, to go through this, and everybody signs off that, yes, I know that that's my budget, and that's how it's gonna be presented. Every week that Julie does a report, that's how it's gonna come out, so that we go forward and there's no questions or concerns relative to what's in what bucket or whatever the case may be. And then on a quarterly basis, we'll do a financial review. I think Julie can run the Trio by department, revenues, expenditures on a quarterly basis. We just take those numbers, we'll put them into a spreadsheet, and ultimately that will advise whether or not we have something similar to a quarterly review. And I'm not sure where we ended up with that document, but there's one floating around here that's got that spreadsheet in it. So on a quarterly basis, this policy will mandate that everybody sits down and reviews, and it might be a 5-minute review, all right? But it looks at, here's where we are, here are the risks, here are the opportunities from a revenue, if you have revenue in your department, and expenditures would be the same way. Here's where we have risk and or opportunities, so that 3 months into the year, 6 months into the year, 9 months into the year, and then before the end of the year, we will all go through those to make sure that we're all on the same page. And if the board has to take action in the last 90 days of the fiscal year, then that'll be the document that drives that. So it ultimately becomes and it will be, I'm sure, a working document, but it'll be a selectman's policy that says this is how we're going to maintain, this is how we're going to budget, and then review and maintain finances during the course of the year. You'll notice that and this is, I think, understood, but it's in this policy that town administrator, town treasurer, and department heads will be held accountable for managing the budgets in accordance with the approval given at town meeting. So, a department head can't do something that's not, so there's some checks and balances here, right? Department head submits, I think the town administrator approves, or whatever the case may be, and then Julie does the execution of whether it's a check or whether it's a bill payment or whatever the case may be. So there's a kind of a 3-way check to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then on a quarterly basis, the board will have the review with everybody to go over. And we'll work on the submission forms, but this was the capital plan that Tom had last year, submittal form. I think the initial budget worksheet came right out of Trio, so we won't try to reinvent everything. And like I said, somewhere around here, we've got a copy of the proposed, or the, what we would do for a quarterly report. And it's simply, here's the end of the first quarter, here's all of your key, you don't have to get into all of the detail, but here are the key driving elements, be it personnel, be it supplies and expenses, those kind of things that shows whether there's revenue, whether there's expenditures, where the budget is, and how you stand to the budget. And some things we know that we'll say if you're quarter of the way in the year, you should be 25% spent, but some things you're gonna be 100% spent on because it's a one-time payment, we'll say. And it happens the first of the year. And I'm not, don't have any example that pops into my head, but. Right, lease agreements or whatever the case may be. Okay?
Any questions?
Got a comment. I'd like to say that, Dennis has certainly done a lot of work on this, and I endorse this policy, but I think that that's good from a review perspective, but I think as department heads, they're gonna wanna look at it a little more closely, probably on the day-to-day operational level. And from my discussions with some of the department heads, and I have not spoken with all of them, but one of the common threads seems to be that they do not have access to Trio to be able to view, what the expenditures are in certain lines and what's been paid out of that or what hasn't been. Now, I know that this can be done within this software to allow department heads access to view only and to generate reports that they want to generate without impacting the integrity of the figures, because they'll have no ability to change anything. If there's a change to be made based on what they observe from the reports, then that is forwarded to the town administrator, who will obviously, I think, sit with the treasurer and make sure that those corrections, take place if corrections are needed. Now, if I'm wrong anyway here, you folks let me know. There's one department head here that will be here shortly. He was delayed.
So the question is are department heads, is it available for them to get into and look up certain reports on Trio without exposing Trio to any changes, so that they can just get it for an information period? They can look up their department and get a latest Trio figure for their department. Can they do that electronically?
As it is now, they do not have that ability.
But the Trio has that ability.
Has within it a set of permissions that can be granted, certain rights that are granted to individuals to view only.
I believe that's the case. We've never had to do that, so I'd have to look into that specific.
That's pretty standard. I know that in Munis, that I'm more familiar with.
We can block modules, but as far as viewing, I'm not entirely sure if that's part of it, but I can find out for you.
That should be a common.
Are you aware of that, Nancy? We've never done that, so.
I know you can block them, but I'm not sure. If you block them, they're not going to be able to
Generate a report, yeah.
will not be able to view them. But if you don't block them, then they're going to have the ability to go in and change. Yep.
So let me look into that.
Yeah, it should be under your permissions.
It could be. I'll look into that for you.
Julie,
There should be a way.
I think we looked into it before and we wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
That's right, Nancy.
I think that's why we had to go sending them, if they wanted them, had to do it, but had to send them via.
But even if the reports that we get weekly, if those are available that have been